number one on the side of MVP.Phx. Their first 1-2 just exudes magic damage everywhere. You see a lot of AoE damage, a lot of single target focus as well from the Lina in particular. And I feel like this combination is incredibly good at catching out the Queen of Pain in the mid lane, right? If you actually have a Quap versus Lina matchup, one Earthshaker rotation can actually set the Lina up for success in the rest of the laning phase. Now, MVP.Phx may still run the Lina as a support. There's still a lot of versatility to this 1-2 pickup, but it is one of the possibilities that we can see and will establish a lot more laning phase dominance for MVP.Phx, where last game it seemed like Vega Squadron were really able to hold their own.
Yeah, MVP.Phx, I really like this Lina pick because I think Lina does quite a good job against Queen of Pain in a straight-up matchup 1v1. And it's just a hero that does well overall. I think it's the type of hero that they like to play. It's a burst damage dealer that can potentially go into the late game. And MVP.Phx, in response, they pick up the IO. I think March once said, if we have IO, we can't lose. Like he said, we're the team. Like, screw all those other teams that run it, Alliance, whatever. We're the team in C. You give us IO, we're going to win. This is their all-in, and MVP.Phx. Ooh. I called it at the dinner table. I think I was like, they're going to take IO Bristleback. Like, this is a strat they've been running for the last 2 years, Cap. They've done it to us so... Like, I know from my Zephyr experience, this late, it sucks to play against.
It is incredibly strong in the laning phase, and it also means that you're going to have one of the most dominant dual lanes you can actually get. It's not overly aggressive, it's actually very defensive in nature, but it's incredibly hard to actually go for that Bristleback because you know you have the Wiz sitting in the side. But the question is it actually a dual off lane? And we're going to be seeing another core picked up by MVP.Phx for the safe lane. We have sort of an Earthshaker both babysitting that hero as well as rotating mid, or are we going to be seeing a Bristleback as a safe lane carry here?
I would like to see the Bristle as probably something like a dual off.
Okay.
Like being able to put the Bristle in the IO in the off lane means that the Earthshaker can pretty much sit mid for the Lina, and it's going to be hard for anybody from Vega to rotate out because whoever you're going to put in the safe lane, which is the Queen of Pain or the Ember, is just going to kind of get zoned out by that dual lane pressure. Like, I would actually kind of like to see Vega... I actually really like MVP's lineup because if Vega sends the Queen of Pain to that top lane, she'll struggle.
Yes.
But she'll do a little bit better than the Ember would, but at the same time, that means you send the Ember mid against a Lina straight up.
Yeah, which is really...
Yeah, it's kind of like this lose-lose situation. I still don't know how I feel about Ember Spirit as a hero. Like, I see some pros tweet about it. I saw, like, PyCat tweet at Loda and said, Ember's not the hero, right? And... I don't know, it seems like teams... Like, this is the surprise hero for me so far in this wildcard. Like, the amount that it's being picked right now.
Pretty much every one of the personalities that I've been talking to, none of us really expected Ember Spirit to be a high-ranking hero because he's been steadily going down in win rate as we've come across patches. Like, it was back in 6.81, I think, that it was maybe a bit more dominant. But ever since then, he's been dropping lower and lower in win rate and is now, you know, a decent chunk below 50%. So it is kind of surprising to me that we are seeing so much. Then again, he is kind of an aggressive, like, he's able to do a lot once you start moving outside of the laning phase, which I feel is a very signature of the current meta, that a lot of action happens from that 15 to 25 minute marker, and it's important for you to have heroes that are able to fight during that period of time. But Vega Squadron, here's a question for you. What if the laning phase is not going to shape up well for the Queen of Pain Ember Spirit switch up, right? Safe lane, middle lane, whatever happens there, Ember's going to be in a bad situation. Is there any credence to running a different core hero and putting a Queen of Pain as a offlane? Because you're dealing with a dual lane situation, right? Because you assume Bristleback Wisp is top, and you're dealing with an Earthshaker something bottom lane. Queen of Pain could be a viable offlaner.
We saw Mag do that earlier today, and it was actually incredibly successful. Like, the amount of farm that he had, I thought that he was actually like a safe laner, and then Purge actually corrected me. He's like, no, that was their offlaner. And so I could definitely see that happening just to kind of shore up the lanes, but it will heavily depend on what MVP.Phx decide to pick. I'm hovering over some... heroes that I think could potentially make some waves. Like, I think the Phoenix by Phoenix would be pretty good. I think some sort of just AoE teamfight ability hero. I think the Phoenix, if they want to go old school, the Tidehunter's available for them as well. The Magnus, if you're really confident. Like, I would like to see one of those three heroes, but we'll see, I guess. but I think that it would be something along those lines. Like, I would like to see the Tide, the Phoenix, or what was the last hero that I said? The Magnus, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
But knowing MVP.Phx, they're going to do... Maybe they have something up their sleeves.
MVP.Phx, they banned away the Skywrath Mage away from Vega Squadron to make sure that one of the better controlling supports who is able to do a good amount of harassment, he would be decently good when it comes to harassing back the Wisp, right? And he's quite strong versus Lina, but I would be very fearful of playing a Skywrath Mage against any kind of raw physical damage dealer like Spirit Breaker. In this case, the Bristleback. Speaking of Spirit Breaker, the Vega Squadron, they actually banned that one away, so keeping away that very aggressive hero. But instead, we're going to be seeing a Razor. Now, Blitz, you and I talked about the Razor and Viper in the current meta, and you said they were winning heroes right now. What did you kind of mean by that?
I think Razor and Viper, although they aren't the flashiest heroes, what they do is they win their lanes consistently, which is a huge thing for a team like MVP.Phx, because if you just look at the type of style that they run, they do like to win the lanes so they can snowball as fast as they can and get into 5v5 fights nonstop. I guess the Razor kind of acts the same way as the Viper does, in that it's probably going to be your mech carrier, it's probably going to be your frontline tank, and I think that's what MVP.Phx really liked, that they lacked last game. Like, yes, you had the Undying last game, but at the same time, you had to pair him with a hero like Bounty Hunter, which I think is a little bit counterintuitive to MVP.Phx's style.
Right, so now you have both the Bristleback and the Razor who can be very much up in the face, and so you have that extra power, whereas last time you were only really dealing with an Undying who, you know, even as a hero is very aggressive and everything, but if he doesn't manage to get, you know, multiple decays off and really good tombstone, he can actually fall pretty quickly, right? So Vega Squadron actually now going back for a jungling hero. Now Vega Squadron actually known for picking up junglers here. So I shouldn't be too surprising that we see the Enigma, but this now adds a big element of team fight. The Midnight Pulse is actually going to be rather good versus heroes like Bristleback and Razor. The AoE control is quite strong against any sort of Wisp combination, and it does give them the laning phase advantage. If the static laning phase goes even or to the favor of Vega Squadron, they're going to have a big benefit because they have a jungling advantage over MVP.Phx.
Yeah, if the lanes just kind of go as is, you're completely right about that. I think that what MVP should do is go for the dual offlane, send the Razor to the bottom because you know he's probably going to be against something like the Clockwork, and then just put the Lina mid and let Warnuts kind of do whatever he wants. And so if you're Vega, you have to know that's what MVP's lanes are, right? Like, it's quite obvious because you don't want to send Razor, a hero that isn't really mobile and can do anything. Like, Razor's not a hero that's going to move around the map in general, and you don't want to give him disadvantageous matchups. Right. So I think Vega, as a response, should actually just send the Dazzle and the Ember to the off lane and kind of let that happen. But at the same time, it's still not an ideal situation because the Razor will do just fine in that lane. And at the same time, at that top lane, March should be able to get a decent amount out of the Clockwork. But this is pretty much as good as the lanes get for Vega, I feel. Like, just dual off lane, kind of just deal with the laning phase because solo at the same time should be pretty uncontested.
Okay, so my idea would have been the Ember Spirit and Dazzle sort of running a dual lane mid and then putting Queen of Pain off, and then you have the Clockwork. The one thing I really like is that Vega are running the Clockwork up against the Bristleback Wisp, simply because I don't feel they would have had any power to defeat that duo. Why do you really think that it's better to have the Ember Spirit at the bottom lane as opposed to mid?
Because he's going to get destroyed by that Lina. And the amount of rotations that the Earthshaker can make to constantly pressure him down, you're not going to get any farm. And in this type of game, you don't want your Ember Spear to have a bad start. Like, we've seen that consistently, right? We've seen Embers struggle in the mid, laning phase a little bit too much, and it just takes them a little bit too long to get online. But whereas last game I thought that MVP.Phx actually got outpicked quite hard, I think this game is more of an MVP.Phx draft. They have the better lanes overall. They're going to be pretty satisfied with the look of the game overall, and I think they should be pretty satisfied with how things are going to go. And in response, actually, I really like this, that Solo's going to go for the aggressive jungle, and MVP aren't going to be able to see this. So what he's going to do, I think, is grab Eidolons. He can rotate down at any point at that bottom lane, and you can pressure their safe lane and just open up the jungle for Vega right now to pressure. And so what he's going to do is just level as much as he can, and then around maybe level 6, he just rotates down, they kill the Razor, and just take the tower as fast as they can.
Does he try and gank up the Razor before he hits level 6 with the attempted Malphus, or does he just focus solely on jungle?
You can, but at the same time, I think what's even more important than this is that Solo can rotate to the mid lane around like level 4 if he opts to go for more levels than the Malefice instead of the Midnight Pulse.
Right.
And a Queen of Pain plus an Enigma with 6 Eidolons, you're going to win that fight. Like, there's no way that Lina can win that. And so I think the correct response is, instead of focusing so much on that bottom lane, is actually to try to help out this mid lane a little bit and then force the Earthshaker to play responsive Dota. Because this bottom lane should be somewhat okay. And once you get a few levels, you can just rotate down with Eidolons and take the tower.
Oh, Mag, sneaky little juke here. If he was actually spotted out by MVP where he went, he has no more Tankos left, so he would have been totally stuck, and that would have been your first blood. If Febby actually spies this one out, they could still get the kill on Mag. As Febby rotates around, he's going to find Mag soon. He realizes he needs to let March first. Oh, they see it now, and now Mag is completely stuck up against both Febby and March, and Mag should be our first blood. No opportunity to be able to get the counter kill on Febby. Nice cog! He actually might be able to... No, unfortunately, he's still stuck here, so he heals up a little bit. March just patiently waits it out. And now with Febby rejoining him with the tether, Mag should be going down here with the next Quill Spray. And there it is. Your first blood is taken, MVP.Phx. I like how they really didn't give up on that kill. They knew the clockwork was somewhere, and Febby did spy out that one tree that went down.
Yeah, and at the same time, Solo is spotted out by that Earthshaker, and so you're going to see the Razor, in response, head over here, and this is actually going to mean a death for Solo, as he's going to get blocked off, nowhere to go, his team isn't nearby, close enough, KP's draining so much damage right now, and this might mean a second kill, but the double Ember!
Oh, the chains, but he's being blocked by Sam and the Slayer!
And
oh,
he had
dear!
Grave Up.
He was supposed to be the healer. He was supposed to be the factor that saved our poor Enigma, but he actually resulted in the Enigma's doom by body blocking him and not healing him one bit. In the meantime, though, Vega Squadron do pick up a very key kill. No one managed to kind of win his lane up against QO by picking up that early kill.
It's the advantage of that background ward, and at the same time, Kyo is so afraid right now of the Enigma being able to rotate in, as no one has a pretty significant lead right now. He's got a full level over Kyo right now, and Kyo is the type of player I know is kind of temperamental. Like, these kinds of starts do bother him. Like, this is something that he's going to go, damn it, I shouldn't have done that, I know better than that, and I think it is going to get in his head a little bit, and so I feel like MVP should try to help him out in this lane as soon as he does have kill power, but at the same time, I mean, now you see Solo rotate over out of that lane.
I mean, if you put that Earthshaker... Oh, March is actually going for another kill, but the TP is coming in. The Dazzle is going to be there to try and save Mag. The heal gets laid out. March actually dropping lower and lower, but Febby with the constant heals means that March just feels so confident playing aggressive like that. So while Sam and the Slayer does manage to save Mag, they are unable to get any sort of counter-aggression. Solo now moves up into his own jungle. Do they actually have the power to get a kill up on this dual lane? With the Wisp Bristleback, it feels like to me the Wisp Bristleback is just going to be too strong, and heroes like the Dazzle and Clockwork are not going to be good enough in the lane.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any real kill potential right here because they don't have any real burst damage, and Febby should almost always be able to rotate in.
So we're solely focused on just jungling now for Solo, and maybe a rotation into the middle lane, but not putting any pressure on top.
Yeah, I think what you do is you grab a smoke, and you have 3 possible options, but 2 of them are more likely. It's A, you wrap around on QO, further try to get the lead mid, because this is a lane that you didn't necessarily see do as well as it did, but no one does pick up the solo kill, and you just snowball even harder in this mid lane than you were before. Or B, you smoke behind the Bristleback, try to kill him, and then take the tower down. But that's a little bit riskier, I feel. Like, if you go for mid, you probably don't take the tower down.
Oh, QO already to shut away, but he gets the haste off and is able to get the distance away from no one. A clutch, and now he's actually trying to turn this one around. No one does get the shot. Great. QO unable to get those last couple of last hits. Meanwhile, top lane chasing down Solo. March does pick up the kill and will content himself with killing off the poor Enigma's babies as well. The Eidolons die, and VP March establish even more dominance up in that top lane.
I mean, this is what I was talking about. I played against this combo so many times in Korea, specifically from March, and so this is just miserable to play against because you can't really pressure it like you would want to in a typical off lane. Like, you want some kill potential, but because you picked a Dazzle, you're not really able to do so, and now you're seeing the lanes even pay off further for MVP because you've got an Ember Spirit going up against a Razor who's not going to have the best time, and this mid lane, though, is the kind of saving grace right now for Vega because right now, as we see Q is getting harassed more than you would want.
At the same time, our Clockwork has now rotated to the bottom lane. It seems to stay. A rather odd situation. Clockwork doesn't normally rotate into other heroes' lanes pre-level 6, but it seems like Vega Squadron are going to try and give him this solo so he can pick up his level 6, and perhaps our Ember Spirit rotates somewhere else with the TP scroll he has, or maybe they're just going to dual lane it. It seems very odd to have the Clockwork here, but maybe they just don't have a better option for him. He's going to try and sneak up and try and get the cogs on KP, but not close enough, and his surprise is spoiled.
He really can't do anything in this top lane because you're seeing March just kind of abuse it. He's able to do whatever he wants in this top lane, and so they're rotating down because they need Mag to get level 6. Like, a large portion of this game now comes down to how Solo is actually going to make rotations around the map, but we've already seen him get invaded in his own jungle once, in the enemy jungle once, and you got to see a TP come up that top, and Solo has to come up huge. Maybe they just get away with Febby right now.
Yeah, Febby managed to make the long tether away, but no one is still there to finish him off. Now, MVP March is going to try and get himself out of this sticky situation. Doesn't look like no one's really going to be able to pursue. March will be able to tag up with both Warnuts and QO from the middle lane, so no additional kill. That cost them 2 rotations, 2 TP rotations, as well as Solo himself coming out of the jungle in order to get that one support, but it does ease the pressure that was there at that top lane. No one dodging the Light Strike Array is going to be fine in this middle lane. Taking a look at some of the CS here, despite the fact that MVP.Phx do have that extra kill, it is not that one-sided in their favor. But maybe after we clear through this Ancient stack, which I didn't see until now, they will be able to take a lot more of an experience in gold lead than before.
Yeah, Febby's almost already level 6 off the heels of this, and March is going to be the mech carrier right now for MVP, and he's almost got it, and once he gets that mech, it's going to be really hard for them to contest this dual lane, and up at top, they're going to try to get aggressive right now, take this tower down, and I think this is the correct response right now for Vega, because Solo hasn't had the best individual game. He's been invaded in this jungle more times than he would have liked, and so this is the response. Try to get down towers. He still has the smoke, so the black hole potential gank is still there, and I think MVP have to recognize that and sit the Earthshaker in places where you think it might happen. They're going to send him up the top, but the Eidolons are going to scout this out.
Mag makes a rotation over to middle lane to try and get that last little bit of solo experience required for him to have his level 6, and he can be finally a bigger factor in this game as MVP. 4 heroes still up in that top lane, but Vega Squadron don't really care. They're sitting back, they're farming up on Pasha, they're taking the jungle with Solo, and again, this is one of the big advantages for Vega Squadron, is being able to have that jungler, despite the fact that, yes, he's been feeling a lot of pressure from MVP with multiple invasions into his jungle. He is taking a lead over the enemy supports.
Yeah, that's just kind of what you expect out of the Enigma, right? Because he's naturally has a farming mechanic at top. They are going to go for March right now. There's no backup for him at the same time.
He came in with the tether, but it's also going to be caught by the black hole with the overwhelming amount of damage coming out.
Turn around!
QO! He's going to try for his last hit! Oh, he managed to get the bristle back, but Queen of Pain still dies. QO now trying to hunt for that last kill on Solo, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch up. Vega Squadron thought they had that one in the bag, but all the damage to the back of the bristleback procs multiple spines, and combined with the QO AoE damage of Dragon Slave, they wiped through 3 heroes there.
I actually think QO could have saved the Bristleback by just expending his Laguna Blade, and I think that was a little bit of a misplay, but at the same time, I mean, you just don't really see that damage coming in. Like, you don't anticipate it. It's like, oh, we're getting hit once, twice, okay, that's alright. But then the 5th Quill Spray comes in, your entire team's at like 100 HP, and a huge boon in the favor of MVP.
And another situation like that, with now the mech up on the bristleback in conjunction with the Wisp, feels like those heroes are just going to be unkillable. Febby is actually going for an early urn on top of his bottle. Now, I would also assume that Glimmer Cape is known to be quite a strong item on the Wisp, and that's what I really love. When you have a Wisp and you're able to get another hero to pick up that mech, it means that you can grab certain other luxury items on the Wisp. We do have an early kill there on Lina. QO able to pick that one up. Meanwhile, bottom lane, it looks like Vega Squadron are going to try and get a pick off on KP. We have the level 6 available for Mag. They try and make the jump now. Already slowed down. And the hookshot does manage to land. KP is going to be stuck here. There's no rotations out from MVP.Phx. They unfortunately grouped up in the middle lane, unable to help out that Razor, but perhaps they will be able to get a kill on no one. He drops a bit low, but is still able to get the blink out.
Yeah, and you see QO recovers a little bit. He does go down at that top lane. I think he was a little bit greedy staying there, but he does have a Eul Scepter at 10 minutes. He has that setup combo. He's got his Laguna Blade. You would like to see Lina have his level 11 in the next 5 minutes, just so he can pretty much solo any hero in the game. But Vega's doing a good job right now of applying pressure on the map. They were able to take down this bottom tower relatively uncontested as MVP went for a kill of their own in this mid. And March, he has this mech up right now, and Vega looks like they do want to mount this.
The early Euls. Pasha, nice dodge with a sleight of fist. Will be able to make his jump over to the Remnant and get out. And unfortunately, he does leave a tower that's low enough to be denied by QO, but still, the Eul Scepter being revealed from the Lina is a significant amount of information that Vega Squadron needed to know to prevent future pickoffs. Vega Squadron still trying to defend their middle tier 1 tower. You can see Warnuts is set up to try and sneak around and potentially catch a hero out with the Fisher. MVP.Phx are going to need a lot more heroes, though, if they want to take this tier 1, with Vega Squadron already setting up to defend, especially no one who has that Invis rune and is well set up for a good Sonic Wave. The question is, do they actually have enough damage? March has already taken some. Matt comes in, goes straight for KP, managed to land that hook shot. KP dropping low. Nice Fisher. It actually stops the Sonic Wave, but it still comes out, finishing off that. Oh, nice Laguna Blade in order to get the clock right there. 1-for-1 trade-off so far, but the rest Vega Squadron seems to be backing up. They take that deny on the tower and will accept the 1-for-1 trade-off.
There's no way they want to continue to fight into that. Once your main initiation tool, the Clockwork, is out of play, you have to just run away right there, cut your losses, because nobody on Vega Squadron had any more mana after that fight, and MVP want to get into these protracted fights where they just continue to fight nonstop against the side of Vega right now. And March is a little bit confused because he keeps trying to buy the Ring of Health at the secret shop, which is something I do all the time. Like, he just forgot about the fact that it was moved to the regular shop now.
Yeah, that's one of those change-ups after, you know, a decade of playing Dota, I'm sure.
Yeah, you just
March
forget about it.
Still used to the old ways. Now, Pasha is about to finish up his drums, phase boost drums, very common item build on Ember Spirit. Is sort of his signature, like, core items for what he needs to be able to fight in that 15 to 25 minute marker. I'm still concerned, though, that even with the stats offered from the drums, he's still not going to have enough HP versus just the heavy amount of burst damage of the Lina, as well as the physical damage of the Bristleback. Even if he does have that Flame Guard, he's very susceptible to everything the Bristleback brings to the table.
Yeah, right now I'm a little bit worried for Vega because in the damage dealing department, they don't really have too much. Like, I actually think they need Mag to get a Blade Mail before they can get into a fight, because right now he's struggling a little bit too much to be able to really do anything. Like, you notice he hook shots in, he cogs, and then that's pretty much his contribution to the fight. Gets traded away immediately.
Right. And
it's a numbers game right now for Vega, because with the type of lineup that they have, they need to outlast MVP, but that's so difficult against a team that has a Razor who's naturally tanky, you've got a Lina who's got a point booster and a Eul Scepter, and then on top of that you've got the counter initiation of both the Wisp and the Earthshaker available to you in conjunction with the mech that March has.
Vebi and QO setting up to help March as he pushes into this tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. Vega Squadron's response is a lot of pressure in the middle lane as well as top. KP makes the TP out immediately after the Searing Chains to make sure he gets away. March, despite the Malphite being put on him, doesn't seem to really care too much, focusing down that tower, knowing that both his mech and Vanguard make him pretty impossible to fight up against.
I think if you're Vega, you just have to give up this bottom tower, go for the deny if you can. If you can't get it, it's not a big deal, because the Mag has to get this Blade Mail. Like, he's just about picked it up. Yep, he's got it right now.
Lane, Mag maybe caught out here. QO is going to try and make the wraparound here with both the smoke and the Invis rune that he was able to pick up. Sees him now, and Mag is going to be hit by the Eul Scepter. Oh no, the Electric Ray doesn't land. The Blade Mail does a decent amount of damage back to QO, but it doesn't seem to matter. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Vega, they actually trying to challenge the Wisp Bristleback, but realize that is too dangerous of a game to play. They themselves back up despite being 4 against 2. Goes to show the power of a very, very farmed Bristleback early on to the game.
You just saw a 2v4 by a tower, and somebody from Vega was TPing in, and it was Vega that was running away, and not MVP.Phx, because they're like, okay, we'll take this fight if you really want to. We can rotate heroes by the time you even get anybody low, and things are a bit dangerous right now for Vega, because MVP is doing a good job of splitting up farm on their cores right now, and they don't really have too much of a response for this. Like, I think even if the Ember Spirit gets a Battle Fury, you're going to see that you lack for damage a little bit.
He's got the pure damage that's going to be coming in from QO as well. He's already got a point booster as well as that Ogre Club. He seems to be straight rushing it, like no upgraded boots, no like say an early BKB, anything like that. He's just going just raw boots, straight Yules, straight into the Aghanim Scepter, trying to get that pure damage as fast as possible now.
Oh, QO in this top lane, he's actually going to get popped off by the rotation from Mag, who hookshots him from downtown, and QO with the next death.
A great kill to get, which also maybe sets them up to take this tier 1 tower, but as I say that, March...
He's just a wall.
Yeah, he really
just doesn't move. He just continues to
they managed to have the Wisp. He's actually making the relocate play, but they already have the black hole on top of that. No one, he doesn't have the AoE damage to be able to finish off these heroes, and that means Warnuts gets off the Echo Slam before he dies. Solo, though, with the Shallow Grave is going to try and make the TP out. Does manage to get away. Ember Spirit bounces back, but is being pursued out by March. The Cogs will push back some of the MVP.Phx. Pasha just needs to stay ahead of March with the slowdown damage a little bit more, and the Quills is enough to be able to get him. KP, though, dropping lower and lower to Mag with the Blade Mail as well as the Battery Assault to manage to pick up that 1 kill. The true test, though, of the Bristleback is here. He's fighting up against 3 underneath a tier 2 tower, and he just doesn't seem to care. He's going to go for Salmon Slayer, easily getting that one. He's dropping lower and lower, but now turns to fight no one. Look at the right click damage is there, but he now is going to be kited around by the Malphus and finally will go down. QO comes in. He's got the Laguna Blade ready to go. He just needs some vision, but he won't be able to see anybody. Now turns to go for Solo. The Sonic Wave comes out. No one. He couldn't finish off either one. Femi now heals up QO. They'll go for the additional kill on Solo. Gets him. QO.
No one
stuck up by
back.
Malphus. No one with the buyback will be able to finish up 2. Mag making sure there's no escape for MVP.Phx as they perhaps overextend themselves in that tier 2 tower.
That was like a 10-person trade with no one buying back there and making that fight okay for Vega, because you can't let the Wisp and the Lina get out. That would just be highway robbery. You walk in, buy a tier 2 tower, pick up 2 kills, you have to punish for that. Tell MVP that's not okay. You can't go that far in. And what looked like an ideal fight for MVP, because they were able to get the Earthshaker ultimate off into 3 heroes, just wasn't meant to be, because March had to pretty much 1v5 for his life, and he had to go so deep just to pick up the Ember Spirit kill. And Vega with the return, I mean, this entire game it felt like MVP had the map control, but Vega with that 5-man wipe just completely turning things around.
Yeah, significant drop downwards in both net worth and probably more primarily experience for Vega Squadron, and they're going to try... Oh, MVP.Phx are actually going to go for a 4-man smoke here. I was watching Mag with his Invis rune searching for a kill, actually runs into the 4-man smoke, and now, well, he managed to get a 4-staff over the cliff and will be perfectly fine. The counterboard was laid out, but just a bit too late, and it seems like Mag, well, he just makes sure that he's 100% safe, throws out the hook shot to the creeps, and TP's out to MVP.Phx. Since they're already grouped up as 5 near the bottom half of the map, they're going to go for Roshan, but it's quickly spotted out. Vega Squadron know exactly what's going on and are aiming to intercept.
Yeah, we saw this last game where MVP got the Roshan low in return for Vega, but Vega this time, they don't have the clock initiation, and the Aegis is already picked up, and is there any sort of follow-up right now? Is the Wisp TP?
Solo in some serious trouble. March is there. Nice 4-staff from Mag. Great coordination from Vega Squadron, managed to save the Enigma. So despite having to give up Roshan as well as the Aegis over to our Lina, they at very least keep their deaths to a minimum. Pasha now trying to push back that middle lane in order to prevent MVP.Phx from getting that tier 2 tower. But he's got to be a little careful. He's got a Remnant still sitting behind the tower and will be forced to jump to it, but MVP.Phx seem very... See, they really want this tier 2 tower. They are already putting all 5 heroes down to middle lane, knowing that Vega Squadron can't conceivably fight up against a mech, an early Crimson Guard, a very farm Bristleback, and perhaps most importantly, that Aegis.
Yeah, they're going to give up this tower. I think this is the right decision. There's no reason for Vega to have to force that fight, because they've demonstrated before that they can win the fight as long as they wait for MVP to overextend. And I think that's their plan right now, is Solo is just going to split up the map, wait for MVP to kind of play in response to him right now. And I mean, if you're Solo, you have to go for the BKB here, right? Instead of the Blink Dagger.
I was just about to ask you the same thing. I mean, he's got enough gold for the Blink Dagger. He's going to go for it. This feels like a very all-in play.
Big play city. He's gonna go for the 5-man black hole. I believe in Solo. He's actually a really good player. Like, you could get a BKB and assure yourself the black hole, or you can go for the Blink Dagger, and there's like probably like an 80% chance less that you get a black hole, but it can be an even bigger one, Cap.
This is true, so we'll see if it actually actually pays out or not, because MVP.Phx, they've got one of the most notable counters to the Enigma without a BKB, being the Earthshaker. That very long-range stun is going to be the way that MVP.Phx stop a big black hole out from Vega Squadron. They do take that tier 1 tower in the middle lane as MVP.Phx continue to pressure up that top lane. Seems like they almost want to go on the Bristleback here. I'm not sure if this is advisable or not, but perhaps the first reveal of the Blink Dagger can get them the jump on a March that's necessary. But Febby's sitting right behind him. He's ready to go with a relocate save if necessary. So March, he just pushes out that middle lane and immediately heads back up to top, where he just wants to take that tier 2 tower. Vega Squadron, their response is to push the middle lane and try to take a tier 2 of their own.
MVP knew that they were there. With this ward over here, they actually spotted them entering the jungle, and so they're like, okay, we should back out, but it does look like Vega's interested in getting into this fight, and I don't know if MVP is going to anticipate this, because they don't have any ward vision right now, and
Solo first to be revealed. March is already on the front lines, is now going to try and make his way back. Of course, the pass is going to make it difficult. Already, there goes the black hole. There's a lockdown, both March and QO, the Sonic Wave, and the combination out from no one. Almost finished off one hero, but now the Laguna Blink gets laid out. No one's still able to make the blink away. There goes that Aegis of Lina, but she's going to be coming back soon into a Clockwork Cog pushback. Meanwhile, the Queen of Pain continues her march forward, but the Razors found her and managed to get him with the static field. Ember Spirit, at the same time, trying to make the jump away. Light Strike Array, QO, hoping to be able to predict that jump, but Pasha just moves his way left, while Mag, another great Force Staff over the cliff. Pasha gets out as he uses Remnant in order to jump away. No, the Remnant's actually maybe going to put him in some trouble as MVP continue to try and go for him with the relocate, chasing him out underneath the tier 3 tower. Mag makes the TP in, had the invis rune to be able to help him out, so MVP.Phx just couldn't quite seem to get their hands on any one big kill. All they got was the Queen of Pain, but at the same time, they didn't lose anything too important, and will now try and take out this tier 3 tower. Vega Squadron desperate to be able to stop this one, start spamming out wherever they can, but without a Queen of Pain, there's just nowhere near enough damage.
yeah, and March knows that there's no black hole. They've used the Midnight Pulse on the ground. There's no Queen of Pain. And everybody from MVP look like they're in decent fighting shape. KP is getting quite low, but he's pretty much the bait. And with that next, all right,
now he gets healed up straight to full.
All right.
MVP.Phx continue to focus down that melee racks. They want to get it before the Queen of Pain gets the revive. Oh, there goes the Dazzle. Laguna Blade wipes him out. Vega Squadron, now we're going to be playing a 4 versus 5. If they want to be able to punish hookshot, misses, but a Sonic Wave! And hits on 4, takes out 1. 2 now as the Whis ends up going down to Pasha. Hoping to be able to get more, but the lead is just too far out now, and Echo Slam puts a stop to his progression. Pasha now needs to make his way out. The Queen of Pain gets another jump. March is dropping lower and lower, but he does have his back turned. It just doesn't seem to be enough. Fisher gets laid out, but still, March falls. Nuts is stuck in a trap and will be going down as well. But at the very least, QO survives, and a lane of frags by 23 minutes is still a huge victory for MVP.Phx.
Considering the type of start that Mag had in this game, he was level 4, he was in a typical lane to begin with, he got first blooded. He's played this game so well. It's actually absurd the amount of 4-staff saves that he's had this game. He bailed out Pasha there. Remember when he saved the Enigma at the same time?
Yep.
He's constantly bailing out Vega from just being completely wiped. And so, beautiful play by him as Vega managed to hold on. That's probably the best possible trade that you're going to get, considering the circumstances where Vega lost most of their heroes and then they lost that Rax. You have to get some sort of response. Their response is to kill 4 heroes, but at the same time, Cap, you have to worry if you're Vega, because you got the Dream Black Hole on the 2 heroes. You got the Lina, you got the Bristleback, you killed Warnuts before he was able to get the fissure off to block it, and you still lost the fight.
14-19, 24 minutes in, you could see that net worth is definitely going the way of MVP.Phx, but experience is to the favor of Vega Squadron after a big fight like that one. They are getting some very key items with the Battle Fury now in for the Ember Spirit. We can start progressing into more damage, and Mag, as you mentioned, has been doing so well despite a rough start, actually has quite the plethora of items for an offlane Clockwork, soon to be an Aghanim Scepter, which will be a significant factor, I feel like. The utility between 4-staff and an Aghanims for the Clockwork will allow him to bounce in and out of these team fights and be a very disruptive hero against, I think most notably, the Bristleback. I think his cogs has just got to be the most key factor in making sure March doesn't lock on to any one hero.
Yeah, but MVP, with the response, they pick up 2 BKBs, and I think this is even more important than the Aegis, is that you're seeing that Vega, even though they held there and they were able to get a lot of kills, there's no real farm progression off the back of that. Like, it's not like your Enigma is going to pick up a BKB. He's still 1,600 gold away, and so MVP, I think they realize that. They're saying, okay, with that Rax taken, we got a big enough gold infusion that we have 2 BKBs, and Solo has to come up huge here. Like, this has to be the multi-Toby black hole streaming moment for him.
This game, if Vega Squadron manage to get a really good black hole here, they can gain control of this game number 2 back into their hands, or perhaps take out MVP.Phx in a clean 2-0. Manage to make their way into the international main event, securing themselves a minimum of $50,000. A huge win for Vega Squadron, 10 times the amount that they've ever won from a single tournament. MVP are hoping to be able to even out this series as they go for another march uphill. They can get 2 lanes of Rax, though, this early on. Sonic Wave already getting laid out. No one. He does have an Aghanim Scepter, so we'll be back in 40 seconds. Just hoping to be able to push MVP back. Not wanting to get into that last end-all team fight just yet.
Yeah, and MVP is actually dipping quite low right now.
Oh, a catch out here perhaps. Mag is going to be caught by QO, and the rest of Vega Squadron, they're going to have to try and march a response. Febby drops low, but not quite enough. Now Solo, he's been caught. He's going to be chased down by KB. He's losing more and more of his damage as KP just pops the BKB, not caring about anybody else. There goes the shallow grave, but I'm just not sure how Solo can actually get out of range. No, he's good. MVP now dropping low enough. They can't actually pursue any further. Vega Squadron might just have a response. Pasha already locking down March, who's going to be forced into a BKB of his own, and a dream. Vega Squadron just managed to push back MVP.Phx, and maybe they even found a pickoff. QO is the target. He's still got a Yule Scepter to defend himself, and it doesn't seem like Vega Squadron, well, they know the Wisp relocate out, and it's going to be coming back soon. They're going to try and fight around this one, it seems. MVP, they just bring back the Wisp, immediately tethers over to the Bristleback. Good Fisher block as well. Queen of Pain jumping aggressively. They also have Pasha slowing down with the chains, but it seems that because it's March on the back lines, Vega Squadron don't want to challenge him.
They're having such a hard time bringing him down right now, and they're recognizing correctly that there's not a whole lot they can do to that Bristleback because you don't want to overextend. There's like too much counter-initiate potential by MVP.Phx. Because that's the thing about playing against a Wisp. It's so deceptive. You're like, okay, this guy has 400 HP. In actuality, it's more like he's got 2,000.
Right.
And we have to fight into the Bristleback. There's no Silver Edge on the side of Vega. There's no real way for them to deal with him right now if they're going to go for that chase. And so they're going to correctly back up, but MVP, they did waste 2 BKBs, overextending, I think, a little bit for Solo, and he doesn't even go down, and he manages to hold on to the black hole.
Yeah, and I think that perhaps this could be very critical of the next team fight. Pasha was able to pick up a Crystallis, and with this extra time they've now bought themselves, may be able to farm up the buyback as well, which may be needed in this next push. Meanwhile, Solo, he's actually aiming for that BKB that we talked about earlier. If he can get both the Blink and the BKB, he's going to be well set up to jump in, get a Midnight Pulse, and a good lockdown on 2, maybe even 3 or 4 heroes.
I think you definitely grab the BKB, even over having a buyback, right?
Yes, like, I mean, the black hole's just too big of a factor.
If you buy back and you don't have black hole, then the fight is probably over to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think this is the all-in of all. Like, you have to just try to grab a 5-man black hole, turn this game around, and it's not even as if Vega are that far behind. Like, they still have the dire side advantage, so if they want to contest this Roshan, they can go for it. And this might actually be the ideal fight for them, because with the Blink Dagger and that small area that they have to play within, this might kind of be where Vega wants to shoot for, because MVP don't even have wards on the high ground, and they actually de-warded this one up here, and so it's not like they have the best vision against Vega right now.
Yeah, they've actually got some amazingly good, I mean, pretty much every single one of their heroes is good for a Roshan fight. You've got jumping heroes such as the Queen of Pain, Enigma, Clockwork, and Ember Spirit, who are all able to jump inside the pit, all have some sort of AoE to be able to throw inside the pit as well, and then added on top, their one support who can't jump inside has that long-range weave that can catch multiple heroes to start the fight. So MVP.Phx are not going to try and risk it going for Roshan, perhaps going for the smarter play
Solo goes
and
for the
focusing
solo
on
smoke.
that bottom lane. Already, the Invis hero Solo jumping forward. He's got the BKB. He needs this one. Goes for the black hole, only catching March. And now Fetty is left to be able to get a potential relocate, but he needs to use it soon. The bet goes off, and they do manage to keep their BKB alive. March is going through hero after hero. Solo's just hoping to be able to get something. He does get one before he goes down. At the same time, the Bristol in the back now cleaned up by Pasha, who's going to jump forward for another one. The buyback for the Queen of Pain seems to be working out, but a nice relocate save out from Febby. He held on to that one for a while, chose not to try and use it for the Bristleback. Seemed to be the right play in the end, saves the Razor instead.
But at the same time, what a fight by Vega. Able to instantly blow up the Lina before she's able to cast a single spell.
Don't tell me. Febby, is he going to get out of here? Oh, no. The Glimmer Cape walk away and TP out Vega Squadron. We're stumped on that one.
Yeah, but they are going to get the Roshan on the back of this, and this is how Vega comes back into the fight, because Pasha, during that entire team fight, was relatively uncontested, just continues to cast the Sleight of Fist, and I mean, we saw it coming, but MVP didn't, as they didn't have the best ward vision. BKB Enigma walks forward, catches 2 heroes, and that was so unlucky for Febby, because just the lip of that black hole caught him out, wasn't able to take down that Enigma. Because imagine, if Febby just gets his ultimate off, that's pretty much all of Enigma's HP, and he can just right-click him down from there, but unable to do so, and now this is going to possibly mean, no, everybody from MVP are ready, respawn, ready to go. They recognize this time, I think they realize they have to go for the Roshan at this point in this game.
Yeah, another buyback that's being foregone here. The Ember Spirit now chooses to invest all in on the Daedalus rather than having that buyback. Do you agree with that play? The potential damage of a big critical better than a second life?
Yeah, because I think if you're in the position where you have to buy back, you're just going to steadily get behind a lineup like MVPs.
Right.
And I don't even think that he's too concerned about dying, because if you look at MVP's lineup, as long as he stands a decent distance away and waits for the fissure, there's not a whole lot that can catch him out of grounds. So I think that's the correct play, and it looks like Vega, they don't want to give up this Roshan for free, and I completely agree with this decision, because you can't just let them get the Roshan and then push your bottom racks.
Here's another upgrade, this time for the MVP.Phx side. We now have an Aghanim Scepter for KP. He just needs it to be flown out to him. Solo, blinking his way backwards. Seems like MVP.Phx once again are choosing not to go for the Roshan, but instead focusing on that second lane of racks. They know that there's no black hole available for another 40 seconds. Vega Squadron, they were kind of smoked up looking for that initiation. They're just hoping to be able to spam MVP.Phx back, but a second lane of racks is not what they can afford to give up, and that's why they make the jump. KP already dropping low enough from that Sonic Wave. March is also quite low, but Febby on the front lines with the Glimmer Cape seems to be doing quite alright. Vega Squadron are now going to return for some damage, manage to get QO, and the melee rack stays alive. This is incredibly important, as now they're going to be able to find multiple heroes. Febby goes down, March is completely caught out. He just turns around, goes straight for Solo, but he can't possibly get him. He's just going to be kited around. He goes down as well. MVP.Phx are rapidly losing control of this game as they attempt once again to suicide for that bottom lane.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, is like, if we lose multiple heroes, it's okay, we'll take 2 sets of racks down, and at that point it's just a war of attrition. And I think they incorrectly thought to themselves, okay, the Enigma doesn't have his black hole, and that's what lost us the fight. But it's really just Pasha being able to go to town. They have no real way to open up on him, so he sits back, gets 1 or 2 Sleight of Fist, and they add up so quickly. There's no real way for them to consistently fight into that. Now this is going to mean the Roshan for Vega and MVP. They're slowly starting to run out of steam, as now Solo's got that BKB Black Hole combination ready to go in just 18 seconds.
Who do you give it to? Do you give it to the Queen of Pain because she doesn't have buyback, or the Ember Spirit?
You give it to the Ember, because right now Pasha, yeah, he's doing so much damage in these fights. I think he just drops his bottle. Yep. He's going to pick it up. He's the important one in these fights. It's just the fact that they can't get to him, and he just consistently throws out Sleight of Fist over and over again, and then Vega just pounces. Like, they just wait for MVP to get somewhat low, and then they can just go for it, because Febby actually isn't that tanky. He's only got 3 armor. He's got a Glimmer Cape, yes, but it doesn't really help you too much against the Ember Spirit.
Bottom lane being pushed out by Solo. The Aegis being up on Vega Squadron. Does MVP.Phx now forced to sitting back and wait out that Aegis, or do you think they can actually attempt to go for another team fight despite an Aegis advantage to Vega Squadron?
I think the problem right now for MVP is that if they continue to wait, they probably just get out farmed a little bit harder than they would like to. But if they don't go for it, and the other issue too is that now the black hole's up. But if you don't go for it, eventually, you know, the black hole will always be up at that point, and you have to kind of shoot for a fight. Like, it's a really weird window right now, because MVP have gone in pretty much all in for racks. Like, if you look at their item builds, you've got the Aghanim Scepter on the Razor. March is going to pick up an AC. I guess that works out for the Bristle, but at the same time, Vega don't have the glyph up, and MVP know that. And you need the glyph up if you're Vega to be able to save the racks. But more importantly, they have the BKB Black Hole combination up from Solo. So this is like a really weird lose-lose situation right now for MVP. Because, like, if you go for the racks, you probably get it. but you'll lose so many heroes in the process of doing it.
What could be even more lose-lose if they actually manage to drop March here, who needs a little bit of help. Febby sitting in the background will tether in, and the rest of the team is here. Perhaps Vega Squadron, the ones who are in some trouble. Mag force-taps himself away. And the rest of Vega Squadron back out. Sonic Wave just being laid in to make sure that MVP don't really pursue.
Under attack.
So it seems like MVP.Phx have chose to go for the farm route. They're going to sit back, wait out that Aegis. They do have the Assault Curious that's coming in. Seems like Shiva's is the next option for our Lina. Unless, of course, and Lotus Orb is going to be picked up. Is it any good here for this team? I don't really see any single target abilities that it's going to work.
No, I think that maybe even more importantly than the Shivas, I would like to see Kyo get either a Hex, a Refresher Orb just so he can double, blow somebody up. Might be a decent idea, but I think the Shivas is just in response to just try to get some armor up for your team, try to make yourself a little bit more tanky, because he's going down quite quickly. Like this, the 6 armor or whatever that he had before for him just isn't paying off anymore.
Right.
Oh man, MVP.
They had such a big lead, but now at the 36-minute marker, it's a 2,500 net worth lead still to their favor, but significantly dropped from what they once had. Vega Squadron holding on to a 12,000 experience lead after winning team fight after team fight.
And that's what's making the difference right now, and will continue to pay dividends for them as they pick up the experience lead on heroes like the Dazzle especially. You know, he's going to start to get even more effective than he currently is, and Vega right now are just outlasting MVP, who... I mean, MVP is still in a really good position. Like, they still take down one set of racks, but you're just a little bit more worried if you're MVP than you previously were, because you've been rebuffed so many times, and this might actually mean Vega's opportunity to go for it.
Yeah, they've already taken down that tier 2 tower, seem to be well set up to go through that bottom lane, but MVP.Phx, they're going to go straight for the racks at the bottom lane. They're actually going to make a relocate play, while the rest of the team actually TP's back. March is going to be left alone. Febby's just hoping to be able to get the relocate save on out. March manages to take at least the range racks here, the relocate back, and they will be able to save him. A pretty tricky play there from MVP.Phx. Essentially trading away a tier 2 tower in exchange for a ranged racks. It's not a gigantic win, but it's something small.
No, it's pretty great for them. I mean, this is what they need to do because they were having such a hard time brute forcing it. You still have the option with IO plus pretty much any melee core to be able to do something like that. And I think that is the correct response right now. Try to split up the map, apply more pressure to Vega in other ways rather than just brute forcing for it, because all you're doing right now is giving Solo opportunities to go for that big BKB black hole play.
Right.
And so by splitting up the map, making it difficult, finally, once again, MVP is forcing Vega to kind of respond to their kind of play. Like, they're forcing them to play reactionary Dota.
Oh, QO, gotta be careful here. Quick blink out, as he was right in the middle of all those creeps with Pasha bearing down on him. Pasha, who now has a second crit. Chrysalis ready to go.
He puts out so much damage right now. Like, they have to be so worried, and I think that's why Q opted to go for the Blink Dagger, because he wants to be able to get on top of that Ember Spirit, whereas they previously couldn't. Like, every single fight you saw, Pasha just sit in the back, you know, hit, slide a fist, slide a fist, slide a fist. Everybody's got 400 HP. Run forward now. Like, everybody move forward together, and I think this is the correct response right now for him. Just continue to build up damage, but...
But can he actually get the Ember Spirit? Because he doesn't have that sight device. He doesn't have an instant stun, right? He's only got the Yule Scepter into a Light Strike Array, which presumably is going to be dodged by Remnant Jump. Another attempt here as we are going to go for March. Febby's going to make the relocate play over. Oh, now actually getting caught out by the black hole. He's not going to be making out of here alive. Febby's going to go down March. He's getting a lot of Quill Spray damage onto Solo, but it's just not going to be enough. Wow, actually finish off Solo. Meanwhile, the jump forward Echo Slam onto just one. Mag will go down. Oh, that Slide of Fist, so much damage. The Slide of Fist managing to bring so many heroes low, but they do have the Sonic Wave. Now the Light Strike Array misses out. Pasha managed to get away from that one. And MVP.Phx on the verge of being able to win a fight. Unfortunately, a big Slide of Fist brings them all low enough that it draws even at a 3-for-3 trade-off.
Yeah, and Pasha... I mean, that one was close, because if that Light Strike Array hits, then they've got good potential to kill him, and maybe that's the opening that MVP finally needed to be able to take down this set of melee barracks, but Vega just look decent trade right there for them, 3-for-3, not really losing anything more, but at the same time, MVP, they're now showing signs of being able to actually contest Vega's lineup. Like, that was probably the cleanest fight they've had in the last 10 minutes.
So we see another armor item being picked up. The Razor now has a plate mail of his own, so maybe he goes for the Shivas and Arlena's just sitting back on a plate mail because he was necessary for him to have some armor, because I feel like he has to have that sight device coupled with the Blink Dagger in order for them to attempt to shut down Pasha's Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I think that's the right idea here. Like, he even drops the plate mail in response. He'll probably pick it back up on the chicken or just go for another TP, but QO, I mean, it's more just the fact that he needed the Blink Dagger to be able to get on top of the Ember for once, and just for the positioning in fights. And March, curious to see what item he goes for his last one. Maybe, I guess, even an Abyssal Blade or something like that would be pretty decent. Yeah. He doesn't lack for damage, and he just needs to be a little bit tankier.
Right.
But I don't know if Heart's necessarily the correct option here.
Pasha just playing around with March because he knows there's just no chance of them being able to lock him down. So he's able to play very aggressively, pushing the creep wave right up into the enemy base and always jump away to his remnant and start split pushing the other side. Now MVP.Phx are hoping to be able to get a pick off here. They go for a 3-man smoke. Solo, surprisingly enough, is pushing very aggressively into the enemy jungle, but I suppose when you've got that BKB TPM, there's nothing they can do to stop that one, but the middle lane, Clockwork does go down. It's not the biggest pick-off in the world, but it is one of the cores of Vega Squadron.
Yeah, and Vega, I mean, they're splitting up around the map, trying to farm out as much as they can, but MVP going for that smoke play, able to open up the map a little bit more, and this might mean their signal to go for this bottom lane of Rax, because they know that the Enigma doesn't have the black hole available to him. Like, he's got the BKB, but it's the black hole that matters, right?
Right.
And so Vega already preempting this. They're going to set the ward down and get ready for this defenses. MVP, they're going to see if Roshan's up. No luck there as they continue to assault this bottom lane.
So they just let March at this point, like, if they do want to go for the push uphill, it's just leave March alone. He pushes it up, and when necessary, make the relocate play out, right? Like, they can't actually commit multiple heroes up that ramp solely because Pasha's Sleight of Fist is too powerful.
Yeah, you can't just continue to do what you've done, which is assaulted together as a group. Even with the Aghanim Scepter Razor, you have to kind of walk in one by one and then get ready for the counter initiation. But March, by himself, is dropping a little bit lower than you would like, and QO's not really in a position to back him up either. As MVP once again get repelled, and maybe this is the sign for them to just go for the Roshan, as the Rocket Flare flies in at the same time as QO blinks in to catch it, and so both teams are aware that Roshan is up now.
Yeah, it just seems so dangerous for MVP.Phx to try and go for that Roshan with not only the constant scouting vision, but as we said earlier, Vega Squadron have an incredibly strong team at contesting Rosh. So back to the jungle they go. MVP.Phx will farm up that next set of items, and perhaps they'll be the ones contesting Roshan instead. Shivas is complete for the Razor, so we do have the double armor items, at the very least. AC and Shivas complete for MVP.Phx.
Yeah, and this ward might have just spotted everything as MVP are starting to walk up. I don't think they have a smoke available to them, but Vega, and this could be the game-determining fight as neither side really wants to give up Roshan to the other.
Especially with an Aghanim Scepter now being picked up by the Enigma, this extra damage from the Midnight Pulse that is part of Black Hole now will do amazing amount of work, particularly on the Bristleback. A smoke up of their own, Vega Squadron hope to be able to get the initiation to secure Roshan here. Maybe they're going to jump in for Roshan themselves. MVP.Phx are kind of spread out, a double damage. Maybe being baited out by Vega Squadron. Pasha's going to come over, trying to take that one. Double damage actually snagged by the Queen of Pain instead. As March comes in from the side, they're going to try and fight this one out, it seems, as Mag. Yes, he goes for the Earthshaker. Managed to lock him down. This is a huge pickoff. Will make sure that this support does not do anything for them. Now the relocate from the side. They manage to take him out of the black hole. Anybody still trying to go for this one. No one is dropping lower, but QO still can't quite get it. Pasha and Solo backing themselves up together as March is pursuing, trying to lock down this Enigma, who has a blink up, but again, the Quills stop him, and it seems like they'll be able to get him. No, Pasha actually holds both in, and the blink out is successful. The damage from Sleight of Fist is bringing MVP quite low, and the tassel damage over time is actually what kills the IO in the end. Poison Touch just a bit too strong for the poor Wisp.
Yeah, and Vega demonstrating once again, it doesn't really matter if we hit a black hole or not. Pasha just does so much damage right now in these fights. You're seeing everybody from MVP pretty much limp away from that as Pasha just kind of saunters off. He's like, I'm way too tanky for any of you, and I mean, they're still struggling to bring him down as Kyo had to commit his ultimate to bringing down the Clockwork, and I don't even think Bang went down there. Like, I'm pretty sure he just kind of walked that off, and I mean, they're really struggling right now to lock down anybody as, even with a completely whiffed black hole, like, it did catch March, but I believe he got relocated out, right?
Yeah.
And so even with that black hole not really being able to do much, you still see Vega win the fight.
Pasha has a lot of gold on it. 5,200. He's got a drums that he's already used up. I'm presuming you switch out the drums for a Scotty, or, well, actually, he's got a bottle, so he's going to switch that one out perhaps for the Scotty. The one, oh, he's been locked out by a bash. This could be big if they manage to pick up this kill, but he managed to get the blink away the shallow grave. He's also there in time to be able to save him. Pasha continues to move forward, hoping to be able to get the
need to kill Pasha right now.
Now, but he jumps over to the remnant to the side. Mag is going to go down to QO. At the very least, they get that one pick off, but Pasha was the big fish, and they did not secure him. Looks like Soul's going to be grabbed by QO, but never mind. They don't go for that one, realizing that Pasha was waiting in the winds. If they tried to go for a kill on Solo, Pasha would have been an excellent area to respond.
Yeah, this might finally mean Roshan from the side of MVP, but I don't even know if Vega wants to give this up. They've got the buyback available on the Clockwork, and yeah, he's immediately going to pop it. There's no way that they're going to give MVP this game. They're like, okay, this is our best chance to close out the series. 2-0. We battled back from a Rax down. A third set of Rax, or a third Rax being taken at that bottom lane. They're like, but we're still in a good position. We can definitely win this. I mean, Pasha's on a beyond godlike spree, has been for quite some time.
Well, March, be careful here. Ooh, he kills the creep just in time. Pasha is not able to make the TP in without his damage. There's no way Vega Squadron can actually catch him out. The top lane was pushing in quite heavily, and this is what stalled up Vega Squadron from being able to go straight for Roshan. But they've given themselves enough room that they feel comfortable now going for that Rosh and trying to secure Aegis and Cheese. If the creeps cross over that threshold, though, in the top lane, they could actually have a relocate play once again and go for that bottom melee Rax. And sure enough, there's the relocate. They're going to try and trade this one up. If they get the melee Rax and will trade that one away from Roshan, I think MVP will be happy. Unfortunately, the glyph is there, and MVP, they're going to have to relocate back, it seems like, without this one. Melee Rax drops to about half HP, but it will start regenning up now. So big win there for Vega Squadron, especially if they can still catch out a couple of MVP members. Looks like the Light Strike Ray is going to land on no one, but Black Hole managed to grab QO before the Laguna Blade. They get that one kill, another one for Pasha.
Yeah, I think the attempt by QO was there, and it was a good one, but everybody from Vega instantly rotates over. They're like, we're not going to let our Queen of Pain die here. And I don't even think he would have died. Like, he still had the cheese. He had enough HP to live through the Lina's attempt. And just a good trade for them here is they are able to get the kill in March. He's going to be the target, but it's not even going to matter because he's so tanky. He's going to be able to walk out as Vega. They get the Aegis and the cheese, but I don't know if this is a sign for them to continue to go.
So MVP.Phx, again, in this situation where they're going to have to wait out the Aegis and, in the meantime, spend some quality farming time. March is almost finished off his Abyssal. He's got 3,500 TP in. He could be in some serious troubles. Now Pasha joins in. The big damage dealer is here. March now pops his BKB. Mag is also here on the side in order to stop Febby from being able to get a good relocate, but it's still up, and he's going to make the play now. Mag comes in. Febby, no! The battery assault stopped him, and that means they will both end up falling. Vega Squadron now on the march straight through the middle lane to try and end this game 2.
Yeah, and MVP, I mean, he's been able to do it the entire time. March, just sit in the middle of the lane. He's like, I'm too tanky, but this time, with 4 heroes available and the amount of damage that Pasha's putting out with 2 Datalises, a Scotty, and a Battle Fury, you're just not going to be able to live through that. And Vega finally on the offense for once, as this is the first time they're going to start hitting down these tier 3 towers in quite some time.
Buyback already used by March in order to try and defend this tier 3 tower. Solo does not have the black hole, so perhaps MVP.Phx do have the power to push him back, but Pasha just seems to be a beast in the front lines. He's got that Aegis and is willing to allow himself to die in order to get these buildings.
March goes down here.
March, he can't afford to go down. He's trying to get back to the fountain. Meanwhile, Pasha gets a clutch shallow grave out from the dazzle. The Aegis is not going down just yet. Sam with the Slayer, he's going to go down instead. Finally, there goes our Aegis. Big Echo Slam being laid down by no one but a hook shot to stop the chain stun. Mag might just give up his life for that one. No, he actually 4 steps away. Now Pasha, he's in the middle of the enemy base. He's got no remedy. He can't go down. He gets bashed. He ends up going down as well. MVP.Phx draw this game out a bit long.
Oh, and they go for the relocate in this mid too, and they're putting so much pressure. They immediately force the buyback. But if March goes down,
he's going to be locked up in the hook shot. They need to be able to get the relocate out, but it's not there in time. March is down for 100 seconds. Unbelievable. They get the melee racks at the bottom lane. They put pressure on middle, but Vega Squadron have an opportunity, a full minute and a half, for them to force a fight while the Bristleback is down.
They don't have the glyph anymore. This mid tower is starting to steadily go down, and the problem right now for Vega is that they didn't really get anything out of that because they had to trade a buyback of their own, and at the same time, they lost that coveted melee bottom racks. They popped the glyph, and their tower gets down to below half HP. So it's not even like Vega can all-in commit for this, because if they lose that fight and their Ember Spirit goes down, there goes the game. So right now, it kind of seems like Vega, you know, they did force the buyback from March and they were able to kill him, but they can't get anything out of this right now, Cap. And now it's once again MVP's game to lose.
Ooh, quick blink out there as QO runs headlong into Pasha. You can see the Vega Squadron, they really wanted to push out both the bottom and top lanes in order to make sure there was no relocate backdoor play available for MVP.Phx, as Vega Squadron are now going to go for the full 5-man mid.
Yeah, and I think they realize in this position, all they're leaving themselves is open to the possibility of the back door, and so they're like, we have to go for this. There's not a better option that we're going to get. March is down for another 30 seconds. They do have glyph available to them, and just taking a look at the buybacks, I mean, MVP.Phx.
Yeah, they're just hoping. I think they're going to have to give up this mid lane. Raxel is actually going to come in. He really wants to Norda win this fight right here, right now. He's going to go for the Razor and the Wisp. They get them both. There's going to be some buybacks, but QO's down as well. Both the Razor and the Lina are being forced into a buyback. The Bristleback up in just 5 seconds. The melee Rax is going to go down soon, but oh, the Sleight of Fist coming out. Does a bit of chip damage to both QO and Kaipi, but no, they actually can't get the melee Rax. Now they're going to be caught here. QO is going to be able to get the stun up on Mag. He has no force staff play. There's only the Shallow Grave hook shot to the side. TP out. Does he actually get away from this one? No, the Eel Scepter is there in time. QO stops him dead in his tracks, and they get the kill in the end. 2 down on the side of Vega Squadron, and the Wisp is coming up in 25. Perhaps it's now MVP.Phx's turn to be on the offense.
There's only one buyback on the side of Vega right now, and I think MVP realized that. They're like, if we wait this out any longer and we lose a fight in our base, that's the throne. We have to go for this right now. If they've been keeping up, they know that Vega don't have any buybacks aside from the Queen of Pain. 1 set of racks remains for Vega, 1 tower. They're going to be able to have to hold this off for. This is going to go to a game 3, and MVP marching down this mid lane. I actually think no one has to kind of sort of die for this. Like, he has to just be the first one popped off because they can't lose anybody else.
That tier 3 tower is already so low. First bit of damage after the Sonic Wave, and Sleight of Fist is there, but the tier 3 tower will be going down, and March still looks plenty healthy. Now they're chains. They're just trying to stall this damage up as much as possible. March is down to about half HP. QO comes in, tries to go for Sam Slayer. Now the Echo Save out. Oh my God, Pasha's knocked down. Still great to save. Pasha might just be able to get out the Remnant away. KP desperately needs that kill, but he can't get another Remnant jump out, and he is fine, but March doesn't care. He goes straight for that last tier 4 tower. MVP.Phx, they're fighting for their lives here in the TI Wildcard Series. Pasha comes back, ready to go, ready to rumble. Sleight of Fist gets laid out on 2. Solo's coming forward, locks down KP. He is down, and he does not have a buyback. He's down for 2 minutes. The throne is completely exposed. The melee Rax is open too, but MVP.Phx are going to be forced into yet another retreat.
And they have to get out of here right now. They can't afford to lose any more casualties. There's no real buyback situation, and even in the position that they're in, it's not as though MVP have completely won this game, because it's just as easy for Vega to march down this mid lane and go for the throne themselves instead of going for any sort of Rax. At this point, all that matters is the throne. Like, they don't really care if they get mega creeped or if they get any sort of Rax at this point. It's just about going for the throne for either side, and I mean, MVP...
Is that why we're seeing in that group book being built up on the Queen of Pain instead of something like a Scythe of Ice that would give him that solid lockdown against a hero? He instead goes for the extra pushing power of a Necronomicon?
Yeah, and then Vega's going to go down for this right now. They realize they want to start putting pressure, but they have to be worried because MVP, they do have the relocate combo available to them, and I think this is actually a really good opportunity for Vega to march down. They're pushing in the lanes right now.
The bottom lane's pushing out. If those creeps get over the threshold, that backdoor to protection is gone. And that relocate play, it could be an all-in for MVP.Phx available. That's why Vega's going to try to back out, but it's too late. They've already locked down Solo. He's going to be taken out. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, March desperately trying to go for that melee Rex mega creeps. He really wants it, but Pasha is taking care of the rest of the enemy team inside the Radiant base. He goes for QO. Yule Scepter being blocking him down. The melee Rex stays alive inside the entire base. And Vega Squadron, if they can get away from Pasha, this will be a win. But Pasha being locked down by the Basher. March is now locked up, and Pasha will be able to get out. They keep their melee racks alive, but they're still stuck in a situation where they can't push in.
Yeah, March being able to solo hold them back from being able to win, and his buyback's about to cool down at the same time, and now Vega's in such a precarious situation because if they lose that Mega Creep, or that last melee racks, it's going to be really difficult for them to come back from this disadvantage, but Vega's going to go for their own racks right now, but I don't even think MVP are too concerned about this because what matters to them more is the fact that they're going to have buyback soon and the fact that their throne is untouched.
Yeah, the Earthshaker is a big critical March. He's got to be careful here. They can't afford to let him go down. Febby with the save. He's going to be there with the heals. Now no one actually gets bashed up with the BKB active, but he does manage to get the blink away. It looks like Sam and Slayer is going to be completely forfeit here. Pasha turns around, gets another good chains in order to protect his ally.
I actually think MVP just
there goes the relocate in. They're going to try and go for that melee racks. There goes the hookshot. They're trying to lock down March desperately. He's at half HP, but he pops the BKB. Going straight for the melee racks. 1, 2, 3 more hits. Oh, the miss! To be able to get it just before he dies. He picks up Megas, and he's got a buyback to be able to defend. Vega Squadron are now left with the prospect of either defending against Mega Creeps or going for the all-in.
They're pinging right now onto the throne. They're saying we have to go for this right now. There's not a whole lot of opportunities. Once those creep waves build up, it's going to be so difficult for them to hold because the only one that can reliably clear things is the Ember Spirit. This is the all-in of all-in plays because if he loses this, doesn't have a buyback whatsoever, he actually had the money for it, and he opts to go for the Divine instead.
But even if they can win a fight, look at the top lane. It's a gigantic creep wave, and their throne is completely exposed. Again, there could be a potential relocate play in just 20 seconds, even if it isn't the Bristleback, perhaps just a Razor. He's able to take it down, but Vega Squadron, desperate for being able to get this clean 2-0 up against MVP.Phx, who are fighting for their lives here in this TI tournament. Vega Squadron start going for their tier 4 towers. MVP.Phx just trying to slow him down as much as possible. There goes the buyback up from March. Hook shot in. Well, Mag, he perhaps is a bit too deep. Managed to get off the Laguna Blade, but Mag is still alive. March, meanwhile, trying to go for Pasha. Locked out by the Echo Slam. Pasha dropping low. It's going to be... No, he doesn't. He doesn't drop. He gets the remnant out with the racks. The throne is exposed. They went for the relocate play. Pasha trying to make the defense here.
There's too many creeps.
Going for the creeps, but now the throne is dying. 700 HP. That's all that's left. QO desperate to be able to get this one. 200 HP. It's over. MVP.Phx. They get game number 2, and they push it. They push it to a game 3. The only way you would see this series going is to a game number 3 between these two teams.
I don't even care who wins right now. After that game, MVP.Phx, time and time again, they get rebuffed, eventually just outmaneuvering Vega, who puts up a brilliant fight throughout the entire game. Defense after defense. They pushed it to the wire with that